Welcome everyone. My name is Dee Dee Hurricane and I'll be moderating this session. Adventures with an EvalSys, implementing Sakai's evaluation system tool for course evaluations. Before we begin, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping details. This session is being recorded. You'll receive an email announcement once the recordings are available. If you have any questions during the session, please type them in the questions box in the GoToWebinar panel. The presenters for this session are Rebecca and Ravi. They both work at Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College located in Toronto, Ontario. Rebecca is the Coordinator of Technology-Enabled Learning. Since she joined CMCC in May 2013, she quickly became the front-end Sakai expert at her institution and is called on by faculty and staff to help implement ideas and provide just-in-time support. Ravi is the Manager, IT Applications and Training. Since joining CMCC in April 2011, he has led the customization and support for Sakai in order to ensure it's successful for faculty and students at CMCC. Both Ravi and Rebecca are wannabe Sakaigers. Please unmute yourself.
Okay, hi everyone. Thanks for coming to our very adventurous session about evaluation system. I'm Ravi. I'm Rebecca. This is Ravi.
And I'm still Ravi, yeah.
And thanks for coming. Okay. So I thought I'd give an outline of what we're going to go through in our short time together today. So just briefly, I'll be giving context to our institution, Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College, which I'll call CMCC from now on, and our Sakai instance. I'll give some context for the journey that we went on implementing evaluation system at our institution. We'll do a very quick demonstration of EvalSys, just sort of showing you what an evaluation looks like, what a report looks like, and during that time we'll also talk about some aspects of our journey, some challenges that we met while we were doing that. And then we'll sum up summarizing the challenges, benefits that we've seen with using evaluation system, and also what we're looking ahead at projects here at our institution.
And one of the things that I'd just like to mention, if anyone can put into the chat, or if there's some questions specific about the challenges that you have had and what tools you're using, specifically because we really want to get a sense of how popular this tool actually is, and we want to actually promote it a little bit because it's come quite a long way. So.
Right, that's right. Yeah, great. Thank you. Okay, and so as we go through this session, I wanted to give a think point for all of you to sort of percolate while we're sitting here today through this session. So just think about what you're using at your institutions for course evaluations. It could be Sakai's evaluation system, it could be something else, maybe one of these other systems that I've put up here in this word cloud. And just think about what are the needs that you have for evaluations. Is your current system meeting those needs? And try and imagine what your journey would be in implementing evaluation system if you're not already using it while you think about ours.
Great.
And just think if that works, if that could work for you. So now we'll just start off giving the context of our journey while you sort of think about and percolate yours. So we're at CMCC, which is located in Toronto, Ontario. It's a private, not-for-profit institution, and all students have to come in with an undergraduate degree already under their belt. So we have a 4-year undergraduate program, that's second entry. We also have some graduate programs. We have lots of continuing education offerings for alumni and other chiropractors, and we have a robust research program here as well. We have approximately 800 students and 170 faculty, the most of which are part-time. So all in all, our institution is very small. That's our context. And this is our learning management system. This is Chiro, the way we've branded Sakai. And Chiro actually stands for Knowledge, Information, Resources Online. We think it's cute, and the name for the LMS actually came from a contest. A student suggested that, so that was kind of a neat thing that we did here at CMCC a few years ago. So this is Chiro, and you'll see in the left-hand toolbar there's an evaluations tab, so we'll be getting into that in a little bit, but there's still just a little bit of background context to go through before we get into the nitty-gritty in Sakai itself. So we'll talk now a little bit about why we decided to switch and start using evaluation system. Up until and including the academic year 2012-13, the recent years before and including that, we were using SurveyMonkey for our evaluations. And we had a number of issues and experienced a number of limitations in doing that. So the first one had to do with the reporting. SurveyMonkey, it was great. You could build your evaluations, and then at the end, when you get all of your student feedback, the reporting was causing us a lot of issues, and that had to do sort of in conjunction with the administrative time that was going into it because of privacy policies that we have at our institution, rightfully so. So our policies are that no faculty member can read feedback about another faculty member, which makes complete sense and is totally fair. But in the way the reports were coming out of SurveyMonkey and Excel, it was taking way too much administrative time to tease that feedback about different people apart. And the way the evaluations were built in SurveyMonkey was in such a way that students were more prone to writing comparative statements about two faculty members, which made it even more time-consuming and in order to tease that apart, or to sanitize the results of those evaluations so that they would be appropriate to give over to our faculty members. So that was a huge problem we were having with SurveyMonkey. Also, obviously, SurveyMonkey is external to Sakai. It's not integrated. And we thought that that might be a piece of another problem we have, which was that response rates were incredibly low. And so these reasons led to why we were looking at an alternative course evaluation strategy. So then we started looking into evaluation system with Sakai, and we saw a few opportunities there. So there were different kinds of reports that you could get, and we thought that they looked better in terms of being able to parse out information about different faculty members. It's integrated, it's in Sakai, and we really hope that that would help increase response rates from students. And there are also a lot of features with EvalSys that we liked to do with automation and user management, which I didn't put up on the slide. So with automation, you're able to schedule in advance how often students receive reminder emails to complete evaluations through evaluation system. And what we were doing with SurveyMonkey is a person would have to sit down, write an email, and send it. But with evaluation system, you can edit the template for your email and then tell EvalSys how often to remind people to complete that evaluation, which is really handy. And on top of that, once a student completes the evaluation, they no longer get those reminder emails. So that was hugely attractive to us. In addition to that, we were able to do some user management stuff that we really liked. Within evaluation system itself, you can give administrative levels to other staff here. So previously with SurveyMonkey, to get into our account, you had to log in, with an email and a password, and we weren't. That's something that's harder to share than if you set some sort of user management where you say, okay, this user and this user and this user has the ability to download and see the reports, and that allowed us to sort of distribute the workload amongst appropriate staff, and that was also really attractive to us.
And to just complement what Rebecca was saying, I think one real opportunity was the fact that because it's within Cairo or Sakai, it inherits the roles. So you know already who is your instructor and who is your student because of the roles already set up in the site, because you're deploying these evaluations as it relates to each individual site. So this was really good because you don't have to actually differentiate who or say what you're going to be deploying, because it's all tied in with the site. So it was just a perfect hierarchy. It really it makes a lot of sense to do it this way. So anyways, we'll continue.
Yeah, so in learning these aspects of evaluation system, we were obviously excited about it, and we started to feel the pang of adventure. We wanted to start an adventure. So we started to chart a course. You'll start to notice our theme coming out here. We decided to set some goals, obviously, for implementing this or piloting this in our first academic year, which was the 2013-2014 academic year. So ideally, we wanted to have every course evaluation deployed through Sakai's evaluation system during that year. We also wanted to save administrative time in terms of dealing with the reporting at the end of the evaluation cycle, and the other automated features we've both mentioned relative to SurveyMonkey, which we were using. And then we really wanted and had our fingers crossed that all of these things would help increase student response rate comparative to SurveyMonkey. So Rebecca and Ravi got on the SSRNR and decided to go on a little bit of an adventure trying to implement an evaluation system and seeing how that would work for our institution. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to our instance of Sakai and show you a little bit of that. So if you can't see our LMS app, Cairo, Dee Dee, please let us know. Otherwise, we'll keep going. So right now, I'm in Cairo, our learning management system, and we're looking at the evaluations tool. And it's actually pretty robust. There's lots of stuff you can do in here, as you can see by all these little buttons. But the main thing we want to be looking at is the My Evaluations tab, which is where we're situated. So here you see there's no evaluations waiting to go out. Currently, though, we have 4 evaluations that are actively open, and students can be taking these right now at any time. And then we have a very long list of closed evaluations that were open previously. We've received feedback, and now they're closed. So we said earlier we'd do a bit of a demo evaluation system. Given the timing, really all we want to do is just show you what an evaluation looks like and what a report looks like with this system. So here I'm going to open up a typical evaluation. So I just clicked on a demo evaluation that I made called Evaluation Course Instructors and Tutors. And so when I open up the link for that, it doesn't really look like much. There's only 2 course-based questions. But I can actually choose as the student who I'm going to evaluate in this instance, and then it opens up a bunch of other areas to provide feedback on those people. So in this case, I could select up to 2 lecturers and up to 2 tutors to evaluate, and then I have just the generic course questions to answer. So the evaluation system allows you to ask, short answer questions, as we're looking at here. And then when we get into instructor feedback, it tells you who you're evaluating. Because this is a demo situation, my instructor's name is student 1, so it's telling me who I'm evaluating. And then I can fill in this really nice consolidated, colorful set of questions. You can also display rating scale questions in this way as well, where it's not sort of consolidated into a group. And then you have other short answer questions and that sort of thing. Evaluation system also has other question types that we're not using. This primarily just shows rating scale and short answer questions. We don't really use any others here, but there are other question types. But we really like this sort of colorful layout, and you can actually customize this. It doesn't have to look this way if you don't want it to. You don't have to have colors. You don't have to have the questions bunched together in a little group. There's a lot of ways that you can make this look. So that's a typical evaluation here at our institution, and now I want to show you a typical report. So I'm going to the reporting feature for the same evaluation we were just looking at, and as soon as you go to view report, you just see, just in your browser the feedback that you've gotten, but it's much more helpful to download reports, and you have a number of options up here. So what we could do is export the PDF for the entire evaluation, and what it's going to show is not only the course feedback of those 2 short questions at the beginning, but it sections it off into feedback per person. So the first instructor that was evaluated was student 1. So you see all the rating scale questions presented in a graphical way, and then further down there'll be text for the short answer part, the short answer questions. And then it starts talking about the next person who was evaluated, and the same questions come up. So it's teasing it out into the different people who are evaluated, which we thought was really handy. And this is sort of the out-of-the-box way reports are done with evaluation system. But because of our privacy policies, which I'm sure are reflective of most institutions' privacy policies, I would expect, this still wasn't perfect. This isn't exactly what we needed, because still, even though the information per person is sectioned off nicely, it's still all in the same report, and that report can't be handed to all of those faculty members with each other's feedback in the report. So this was the first sort of, I don't know, wave that we hit in our adventures in figuring out how we were going to deal with this problem. And this was probably one of the most exciting things we did with evaluation system, is we actually wrangled up the funding to pay for custom work. And what it allowed us to do was to create this very unexciting looking drop-down menu. But when you click on it, you can download the report for a specific person. And it's not only showing you the feedback about just that one person, it includes any general course questions. So that means that if the evaluation has any generic questions about the course, every individual's report will have those questions in it, as well as the information only about that one person. So I don't know if you can tell, but this report is a lot shorter. It's only these 2 or 3 pages because it ends after the feedback about that one individual that I selected from the drop-down menu. So that was a huge benefit that's made this system so valuable to us, and it saved us tons of administrative time just having this little drop-down which teases out the faculty's.
This helps out a lot for when you have labs or you have tutors that are multiple tutors that are going to be conducting one session, and you want to be able to gather feedback specific for those tutors. So this was something that that we thought was really, really good to implement for this reason as well. One other point I wanted to add as well, Rebecca, with regards to deploying, you can also actually deploy anonymous surveys as well.
Mm-hmm.
So much like SurveyMonkey, you can actually deploy where if you don't want to know who's, you don't have to actually log in to Sakai to be able to take the evaluation system. You get a different link, and it would still write the data right back into the database anyway with that link that we use. So we don't typically use that, but you can think of other areas of the institution if you wanted it to use for polling or for surveys. You could also use that externally without having to log in as well. So.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Rebecca, you have a question in the queue.
Sure.
It states that they would like to know, I think it's Segun, if you can share the evaluation template that you were using with them.
Sure.
Oh yeah,
Excellent.
no problem.
That would be great.
Yeah, if you want to provide your contact info in the chat here, we'll make sure to get that. That's no problem. Thanks for asking. That's great. Okay, so so far we've just sort of gone over what it looks like to create an evaluation and the reports that we get at the end. But I guess we can't emphasize enough maybe how the amount of work that went into getting it this way. But now it functions beautifully, especially with that report feature we were just showing you. And just a couple other items to mention that have to do with the rough seas that we encountered while implementing EvalSys. Just a couple other things I wanted to mention include the support network that we had while we were doing this. So this was one of our biggest issues as we were implementing evaluation system. Unfortunately, around the time we started to implement this in summer 2013, a couple of the biggest experts in evaluation system in the Sakai community left the Sakai community. And that is sort of goes along with the nature of open source stuff, I think. You know, people can come into the community, leave it. It's sort of a fluid thing. And so we had, it took a little while longer than normal to fix a couple issues that we ran into. But we were very lucky. Our support company was excellent in working hard to try and determine those issues as fast as they could and develop their own expertise now that the experts in the field have left. So it really worked out in the end for us. It was just maybe a little slower than normal.
In the process, yeah, absolutely. I think that because what we understood was that the way the code was written in this tool, I guess maybe it was just ported over and over. I'm not really sure the history behind it. It ended up traversing into something that was very difficult to redevelop and to reprogram. So to even add functionality and features, it was one of those things where things kind of got broke as they got fixed and vice versa. But we believe that it's solid now, and we worked alongside on this, and I believe there is a JIRA that kind of lists the background history. We can share this this JIRA link with you.
Yeah,
if you're
absolutely.
interested. You can see a lot of the work that's kind of gone into it and what it has become as a result of some of the customization and some of the funding that we've given to this tool, and I believe it's back into the community now. So I'm not sure if it's part of the I guess we can say master now from what I learned from this morning, or trunk to those that are still familiar with that term. But if it isn't, then
a couple.
It seems we've run into some technical difficulties. One moment.
audio clear. Okay.
We can hear
Can you
you.
hear it?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
great.
sorry about that. I think we just had a little burp in the.
Yeah, sorry
In the
about
network.
that. So we were just saying it was two-part with the expertise of the community and the fact that the code, as Ravi was saying, is a bit complex. But we really appreciated all the work that a variety of people did into making this tool work for us. So to sort of sum up on that note, though we hit some sort of stormy seas in the first year of implementing the evaluation system, it actually worked out really well for us in the end, and we continue to use evaluation system to this day. Every course evaluation we've run since we started has been through evaluation system, despite the challenges and the rough waters we hit while we were making this happen. So this slide here is just a summary of I guess challenges and benefits to evaluation system that we've found in our journey. So this is just a summary on the left-hand side of different issues that were important to us and whether or not we felt evaluation system met those needs relative to using SurveyMonkey, and then whether these issues required some external support that myself and Ravi could do on our own. We talked about the community support issue a little bit already, and then the other one is just about response rates. I'll just quickly mention that our response rates have definitely improved, but they still have a long way to go as well. So if anybody out there who's in this session has some strategies or ideas for how they work with student response rates to their course evaluations, we'd love to hear them.
And for me, just one other thing, I'm thinking, well, actually, we're right here in the future direction. One of the things that I feel would be good is if you've had any database people or anyone that's able to actually put together and analyze your data. So, for example, if you're asking questions with scores, things like that, one of the things that I feel would be really helpful is you can go into the Sakai database. You can actually pull out the scores for a particular evaluation or across a particular program if you have multiple courses with multiple sites. We can run analytics on this type of information. And that's something that I don't know if SurveyMonkey has allowed you or any of the other web-based tools allow you to do. Maybe there is ways to group and sort it. But again, because of all the benefits that we talked about and being able to run analytics to make decisions about how you can develop your curriculum or to modify your curriculum based on feedback, because a lot of times now I think this type of feedback isn't about, yeah, this was a good instructor or that was a really bad tutor. I mean, I think that evaluations really, with the feedback that we want to get nowadays, you get better feedback from Facebook and Twitter, actually, to be quite honest. We really need to get it in this contained manner in an official sense so that you can actually form the direction of your institution. So that was one area.
And right now you have a whole bunch of questions in the queue.
Oh, good.
I'd like to share with you. We have Christina Schwiebert, I believe, and she's asking, do you guys put out the evals or do the individual instructors create their own evals?
We do that.
All right.
Yeah.
Just because you have that we can get away with it.
Yeah.
But you can get your faculty to do it because of what Rebecca mentioned about the
user management.
And you can give the rights within, because there's actually its own sort of administration panel right within the tool, which is very helpful. If you want to see it, we can show it to you, but we've got 6 minutes, so.
All right. Vicki Kowlowitz, I'm going to end up passing on the last names, asks if the data can be integrated across courses so reports can be given to chairs and academic deans.
Sure. Well, the reports, if you export, So if you notice, the options there when you export, well, because of one of the customizations, we can export by particular faculty, but you can get the full report for that course. You can export out to a CSV, for example, and then that way you've got the data right out into a tabular or like a rubric type format, in which case you can format it any way you want. I'm not sure if that answers the question or not, but you do have that option.
There's a general question from Jonas about do a small group of administrators or users create and manage all of the evaluations within your institution because they have 4,000 employees and 2,000 faculty and they all make their own eval templates? So.
Yeah, great question. So currently it's really only myself and one other staff member who's made templates and deployed evaluations. We have a larger group than that, but it's still very small. It's about 6 people of people who come in to download the reports to give to the deans and the chairs and that sort of thing. So we have administrative staff, not faculty, doing that part where they're getting the reports, just making sure everything is good to go with each report, and then sending that off or saving it to our network so other people can access that feedback for performance reviews. That user management feature is very helpful, and you can add as many people as you need in order to do those sorts of things for a larger institution.
Yeah, I just want to add though, I mean, one of the things that I profess with our team here is that whenever you introduce something like this with technology, where technology is used to serve a problem or solve a problem, one of the important pieces to understand is that you've got to develop a process, which is usually nothing to do with technology, but it's about the way you work with it. Mm-hmm. So to answer this question, my thought would be that you have this many people that you're involved in this process, but work out some maybe succinct templates that you want to use, maybe a handful that would work, and hopefully you can find that medium. And one other point that I always stress, and we've probably all heard this, don't deal with the exceptions, focus on the rule, and then deal with the exceptions afterwards. And hopefully, because a lot of times you'll end up spending more time dealing with, how do we get this to work in what I just said, which is to come up with a template that may or may not work. So you'll find that once you start using this tool, you can be very creative with it. It's got a lot of flexibility.
You have some other questions in the chat that are more for details about how to contact some of the people who are interested in the templates and how you work together. One other question is, what do you think it would take for other schools to adopt the tool?
Wow. I don't think a whole lot, to be honest. I mean, the thing is, to make customizations would be a little bit more challenging, I think, because it depends on who your support network is and your support company. And again, because we've lost a lot of core resources that really understood the tool from the community, I think there's still, now it's even more limited, but at least I can certainly say that Longsight does have. I mean, I'm not trying to solve for them, but they do definitely have some expertise that they can do some customizations. But to adopt it, I think the tool is already in. I don't think we developed this tool. I think it was already part of 2.9 or 2.10.
It's part of the deployment, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when I was getting this going at our institution, the biggest thing that I felt like I was lacking was just the community, the other community members that are using it, because there's other tools in Sakai that are so widely utilized, like tests and quizzes and gradebook and all of the standard core tools that everybody knows, talks about. There's big projects like Step and Leap that are out there to enhance these tools, and EvalSys is just not one of them.
And I don't know why. And it's a funny thing. I think there's actually a lot of closet evaluation system users, because
yes.
Even when we were talking to our moderator, Didi, when we were planning for the session a couple of weeks ago, we discovered that they're using it at Marist. So it's just kind of funny to see. Yeah, so I think we have a lot of closet
EvalSys users.
So we've got to come out of the closet, and we've got to come together and make this thing a little bit bigger. And maybe when we're in New York in a couple of months or maybe half a year, we can maybe have a session just specifically on this and meet face to face. Although you've got our faces, so.
Yeah, and you also have our emails here on the slide, so please feel free to contact us with any questions about evaluation system.
At the end of the session, we will save our chat. We are running low on time. Is there anyone else with any particular questions for our presenters? If not, I'd like to thank you all for joining us, and our next session starts in 10 minutes.
Great.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you all.